So carrying on from the previous video, what we're going to do now is try and finish off this hinge lid. Now I'm going to put this on pause for a second and have a look at what's happening here with regard to the actual hinge joint itself. And let's just zoom in a bit on this CAD file here and explore what's happening. If I just get the attach tool, make sure I'm on the right drawing file here, turn off the radial lock tool, turn off the grid lock and turn on the attach tool. In fact, no, I want the radial lock on, sorry. I've still got that as only active when drawing lines and marquee rotations, fantastic. And a line tool, and I've got this still as a pale gray in this drawing, which is great. I'm going to click on, let me see, this point of the hinge, and I'm going to bring it up. No, that's not what I want to highlight here. Yeah. This is going to be tricky to explain. Very tricky. Okay, I think I'm just going to have to go for this and see what happens. Okay. Yes, let's do that. Let's do that. Okay, all right. So in that particular case, yes, what I'm going to have to do here, let's come back to this drawing here. Let's zoom out on this one a bit more so you can see what's going on. And let's come back to this box here. Okay, so we are going to have a look at the hinge system. So what I'm going to do right now is focus on this right component here. Let's zoom in on this. I'm going to grab this lid. I'm going to copy it, attach tool off, grid lock on, and I'm going to pull this to the left and drop it there. Now, alongside that, what I'm now going to do, I can see that I ungrouped these in the last tutorial. So I'm going to take each of these, and these haven't been completely or sorted yet in terms of how they operate. So I think actually I'm just going to select all of those. I'm going to move those to the left, and I'm going to focus here on this right panel. So let's again, as before, take this, Shift deselect the text, Control E, no, sorry, Control H, excuse me, make it into a continuous path. Select the writing there, Control H, continuous path. And then now I can Shift select both of those, and I want to make sure that that is on the grid. So let's zoom in here. I'm going to make sure that's on the grid, and as a result you can see that that's lining up with the lid above. So in the same way here, let's just remove that out of the equation for the time being. We can come back to that later. Okay, so here we are. So I can see that this lid's going to sit on, and what I'm looking for here is the hinge. I'm feeling as well, I'm just going to put gridlock on there and move this to the left 2 squares, so I've got more to work on this right hand edge. Now I want to make it so that there is this hinge pattern working here. So this is where things are going to start to get a little bit tricky. In fact, what I'm actually going to do here is go into step lock and bring this up so that this is resting on the grid. Okay, so this is why it's important when you're, creating boxes in Maker Case, work with integers. Don't have crazy decimal places with your millimeter sizes, because otherwise it's going to be off the grid. Right, I also think here as well, I'm actually just going to pull that down to there. Gives me a bit more space. Okay, so I've got to imagine here, I'm going to now draw on what this lid is going to look like. And I'm not going to worry about the bits at the front. I'm just going to, the curvature at the front. I'm just going to take the original shape here of the box. It's going to be all the way to the end here, but it's going to be 3 millimeters in thickness. That's the current size of the lid. And what I'm clearly wanting to do here is extend this out so that it is going to be hinging at the back of the actual box here. So let me think how I want this to appear. I'm going to take this lid here and I am going to do a rotation using the transformation tools. And I'm going to rotate this through negative 90 degrees and I'm going to repeat it once. I want to keep the original and repeat. And I want the lid to come up to that angle there. Okay, so that means that I want the center of this rotation to be there. So let's just put my step spacing here to 0.5 millimeter. And let's put a little cross where I want that rotation to be, right there. I'm going to take that cross, Control H, okay, done. And that's basically going to be my reference point for this design. Okay, it's going to hinge up like that. Now, instantly, I've got a problem here because this was not hinged on that point. It was hinged on that point. So if I come back to my rotate here and put that at 90, hang on a second. I want to make sure I replace it. Look what happens now if I click on that point. It hinges back short of the original lid. Before and after, before and after. So I can see that this is wrong. What I need to do is take this design for the lid and I need to extend it out 1.5, 3 millimeters, so that now if I do a transformation of this lid through -90 and repeat it once and rotate it around that hinge point, that's what we want. Okay, so bearing that in mind, I can now take this design right here, and I know that this needs to be extended out another 3 millimeters so that those two lines align. Okay, so that's now increasing the size of my lid as I want it to be. But I know that I also want to make it as well so that when I hinge the lid, it locks in position. Now, I don't have to do this actually. I could have it so it just sweeps all the way around, but I rather like the feature there that it locks in position. And I'm going to run with that design. Okay. And I think actually I'm going to put that on hold for the time being. Let's just see where else I'm going to go with this. I know where my hinge point is going to be. Let's just work on the hinge point. Now I know here that I'm going to have sort of like, how can I describe this? A washer running inside a washer. I guess we've got this external washer here, or rondelle. We've got this little internal washer here as well. Okay, so let's just try and work on that right now. I'm going to come to a circle with a given radius. And I'm just going to start off here. Let's have a radius here, I don't know, of 6 millimeters. I'm going with 6 because the wood is 3. And I'm going to click on that there, and I'm going to just evaluate how that looks. Now, I think that looks too big. Let's undo it. Let's go for something 4. How does that look? This is the radius here. So the circumference will be 8. And I also think that no, I think actually that seems okay. I think I'm going to run with that size there. Let's just try one smaller. Let's try 3. That would be 6 diameter. And I feel as if that's definitely getting too small there. I'm thinking here about this internal size here. In fact, you know what? Let's just come to here and let's see what I used here. Let's come to the dimension line tool. I'm going to look at the radius of these shapes. Radius 4, there we are. So that's what I've got right here. I agree with that. So what have I got here? I think this is going to be radius 8. Oh, radius 6.5. How interesting. Okay, so let's come back to here. Let's come back to that radius tool. So let's go with the same then. So I'm looking at my box here. Does it feel right on the box? Yes, I think that does. I think that looks really nice. It works really nicely. It's got a nice action. Okay, good. In fact, I am going to change. I'm going to specify this inner one to be 3.5 or 7. I'm liking that. Let's get rid of that outer circle. And then I'm going to have the outer hinge system here being 6, not 6.5. So it's going to be a little bit more compact and neat by doing that. I like that a lot. Okay, fantastic. Now, at this point, there's something else that I've just realized as well, which could be causing me a problem. And that is I'm working with a right and left panel here, but can you see how on this panel here, my right and the left, I've probably swapped them over. We've got the finger joint at the top here. And here I've got the finger joint in the middle. So actually what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to take this back panel. Let's actually do this. I'm going to select this panel. Shift deselect the text. Control H, make into a continuous path. Select the writing. Control H, continuous path. Okay, now what I'm going to do is with step lock turned on, I'm going to bring this panel and drop it there. And now I'm going to grab the other panel. Now, can I grab that? I think that's the one I want. And I'm going to bring that back to there. And I've got to be careful here because I'm working with a value of 0.5 millimeters. And now look, that means that this hinge is now working nicely with the way the finger joint is fitting in the middle. And here I've got the wall profile sticking up. That's going to be a lot more useful there. Okay, good. So that looks really nice. And now I'm just going to finish off what I think I need to do with the lid here. So I think that this lid should actually extend all the way back to, now I could go all the way back to there, but I don't like the fact it just sticks out slightly. So I want to extend it all the way back, 0.5 millimeter back. I'm going to extend it back to there, and that seems really nice. So now if I take this lid and I rotate this, positive 90, nope, sorry, negative 90, my bad, excuse me. And I click on that point of rotation, we can see how that's going to rotate, and then it's going to sort of snap in position, and it's going to be held in that position by the frame below. So I am liking that a lot. So let's just undo that there. Now I'm going to come to this design here, and I just need to make sure that I pull that out to the same point, which I believe is onto that grid line. Absolutely perfect. Now, just a final thing to say here. Can you see how I've got this little finger sticking out here, and it's going into like a rectangular slot here? So let's have a look at how that is going to work right now. I'm going to get myself a rectangle tool here, and I'm going to draw a rectangle in here. Now, I'm going to have to just pull this to the left here. I'm going to go 1/2, 1, 1.5, 2, 2.5 might be too much. I'm going to go 2 millimeters, and I'm going to draw a rectangle there. Now, is that going to work? Am I happy with that? I think I'm okay with that. And then what I'm going to do is take this rectangle, copy and paste, line it up, and then with the radial lock selected, pull this up. Oh no, it makes no difference in that case. Okay, pull that up to there. Radial lock did nothing. Okay. And I'm now going to also paste that again, and I want to pull it up to the top here, and I need to make sure that they are going to be in alignment. So let's drop it up there like that, and I don't think they are. I think that needs to be in alignment. So to check if that's the case, let's now turn on radial lock. Let's draw a line there, bring it all the way down to the bottom, and they do align there. Okay, so it's almost like this line here and this line here are basically just construction lines. So I think that's what I want to do. No, I'm going to leave it as it is. There we go. I think I'm going to be okay with that. Let's now just select the image here. And I'm just going to pull this away with the grid lock on another 5 millimeters so I can see that everything's mapping out nicely. So can I select this and delete it? Yes, I can. And now you can see that hinge unit is looking really nice. But we still, I just feel as if before I do all this deleting, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select all of that, grid locks on. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to bring that down here. So I've got a duplicate. And then now I can hack into this and know that I've got a backup, okay? So let's have a see here. Now, yes, let's select that lid that we were testing with and get rid of that. So I can see my center of rotation here. And the last thing I'm going to do is just clean this up a little bit. I can see that I've got these little fillets working here, and I've also removed the lines that fit within this. So let's just come to the delete part tool. Let's trim these lines back like that. Can I get a fillet working on here? I don't think this fillet tool is going to work in this case. Let's get the fillet tool with a radius there of, let's say, 1.5 millimeters. Click on here and click on here. No, that's not going to work. No, that's not working. Okay, so if I want to get a fillet in here, how can I do that? Let's get a circle with a given radius. Let's have a radius of 1.5 millimeters. And then if I come in here and I come into step lock, can I drop that in there? And look, yes, I can. I can drop that in there. I can drop that in there, and now with the delete part tool, I can trim that back, and then I can start to clean all that up. There we are. And that basically is my hinge component looking really cool. Okay, and the lid working as well. I will actually do one more thing, because bear in mind that I need to have this on both sides. So it might be that I'm feeling that I've got to redo this side over here. But no, of course, these are going to be mirrored. So all I'm going to do now is select this, make sure gridlock is on again, because I'm relocating this, bring this down, and then let's just take this design now, duplicate it, copy, paste, bring this down to here. And then now let's get my left text, select that, Control H, make it into a path. I'm going to get rid of the right text and bring the left in. So they're labeled up and they're ready to go. Of course, it means that this, I don't want to get mixed up here, because I don't want to have 3 of these panels with the finger joint cut out in the middle. I want to have 2 of those and 2 with the finger joint sticking out. So effectively now this panel here is wrong. I'm going to select that front, Control H to group it together, or make it into a continuous polygon, bring that down, and I want to get rid of that so that I am left now with my front and back and my left and the right with the hinge mechanism in place. And I've got here the pins of my hinge, which are going to fit into these little sections. Okay, so that's looking really solid now. I'm just going to do a little bit of cleaning up here. Okay, good. I'm going to leave the video here. So this is getting all rather complicated here, but hopefully it is making sense. Okay, great.